Welcome, everybody, to the Opportunity Podcast. We are off and running, pun intended, because we have Sage Colón from Cleveland, Cleveland State University, track and field. I've got all my notes here. I'm like, oh, she's already from Ohio. She's still in Cleveland. I'm like, oh my God, but it's not Ohio State University. So thanks so much for taking some time from your schedule and school and running to be with us. Like I just said, you grew up in Ohio. You're at Cleveland State. How do we end up here?
So I'm originally from Perrysburg, which is around Toledo, and it's very much a suburban area with like a bunch of space and like it's a smaller town, and I always knew that I had wanted to like go to a bigger city. I just didn't necessarily know like what city I wanted to. Um my family always went camping, so I just like wanted a new experience of like something I've like haven't experienced like been around for a long time. And I'd been to Cleveland a few times, but like not like fully got the experience of it. So when I like got into contact with my coach and he like gave me a tour, like I loved it like right away. It was great. Like my everybody that I met there was great. And I really liked it here. And I didn't really know what like college I was really like looking for until like really like kind of late in the game, especially like with running. But I found like a great opportunity here and I'm very grateful for it so far.
Nice. Well, you say you come from a smaller town out there, but if I read correctly, you guys had a pretty successful track program for a
Yeah.
small little town that includes a state championship and regional titles. What was that like being kind of from a smaller town and having like a ton of success like that state wise?
Yeah, that was like a dream come true for my entire team. I was one of the alternates for my team the year of 2021. But I went and I like we had no plans of even thinking about winning like ever. I think we were ranked going into it. I think we were ranked third because we had a good regional race, but before that, I think we were fifth like constantly across the board. So like no one had it in their head that oh, we're going to win this like because Perrysburg like we haven't won a state title for anything in 10 years before 2021. And before that it was only like three other teams. So like it's just not very common for us. So as I'm like looking at my phone and like seeing that we're in first, like it's just such a like thrill that I go through. You're like speeding from the stands to like the big hill and at Fortress Obets and racing back to see my teammates finish, and it was just like crazy seeing my phone say that we were in first. Like I remember crying just because it's just such an amazing moment to be like not expecting it at all and just being able to tell my teammates like see them and being like you got first and just seeing like their reaction like their face drop and like think that you're like faking and to see my coaches because this was my coach's dream for like a long time. Like I remember vividly like seeing him cry and like it was just like a great feeling because it was just like happy tears of like how proud he was of everybody. Um and it's I don't know, it was just great. And my senior year we got fourth, um but which was great still. Like fourth is fantastic. But some of us were like a little bit sick, so that was a little disappointing. But this year, obviously, I'm in college, but I came back to see my teammates and still didn't have an expectation of anything really to like get first. And um, I got to like tell all of my friends again, like we got first, which was just crazy. And I just felt so glad for my teammates, even though I wasn't a part of that. It just getting first as a team gives my other teammates like opportunities like I got. to be able to continue their athletic career, and it just always makes me so happy.
That's so cool. Just to even be a part of it, and everybody works, seasons are so much longer than the meet time,
Yeah.
just the hours and time you put into it. So to have any level of that success is such a cool experience, whether you were right there on the front lines or not.
Mm.
It's everybody's kind of, in the grandest scheme of things as the team, that you're all in it together all the
Yes.
time. So one thing that is kind of crazy to me about track and track and field in general and distance that you're doing is that in most other sports, running is like not the thing that anybody wants to be doing.
Yes.
And here you are, like, that's the main event, is running. So how did you just grow up and you love to run, or it's something that came really easy and natural to you? Like, why are you a runner?
So like right now, I would say that I don't have the best like coordination with like other sports just because I've been running for so long. But when I was younger, my family would always do like mud runs and stuff. So we were always doing like 5Ks when since we were little, going through the dirt and the mud. So it wasn't like 100% running, but it was just like gave you a good experience through running, especially when you're really little, so you don't get like the super competitive side. You just get like the fun, like down in the dirt side of it. And I at my first school, I did kindergarten cross country, which so that kind of started me. But I switched schools and they didn't have elementary cross country, so I did soccer for a little bit. But my family, my sister was a runner, my other brother was a runner. Now I have an 8-year old who's doing all of the sports, but he's doing great as running too. And it's like it is a family sport. My I don't know if you've heard of the Tough Mudder
Yeah.
or like a Spartan race.
Yeah.
Um, but my dad and my sister, they've been doing like they my dad has probably done like 10 Tough Mudders, so like that's
Oh,
his
wow.
focus. Like I've never done those because um they're not very good for like in season runners because you could get hurt, but like they're so good at that. And so like running is just all around. So my family, so we just like boost each other because it's just a fun thing
That's
that we
so,
have to go
yeah. Well, so, running as a lot as a kid and in a for fun environment. I'm just even thinking of my 5-year-old daughter. We just had like her first little like jogathon, and they like run around
do.
the track and see how many laps they can do. But I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, she would love a mud run. I can't keep her out of getting absolutely filthy dirty. So I got to put that on my radar, because she'd probably love to do that for
Mhm.
fun. So as you're
Yes.
doing those things growing up, and it's fun, and seems like a very active family, which is really cool. But at what point did you decide, like, I want to be in this as sport now? Like, a little more than just running for fun because we're out doing it as a family, but into high school and having some success, and then deciding, cool, I have an opportunity to keep running. When did that kind of click in your mind that that would be an option for you?
See, it was kind of later in the game because all throughout like junior high, like I was like on the lower spectrum on varsity, and then my freshman year, I I wasn't like the fastest girl, but I wasn't like the slowest girl. I was just kind of in the middle. And so I remember writing myself like a letter to senior Sage, and it was like, now running in college would be cool, but like you'll probably never get there. And then I remember like getting that letter back and just like thinking about how I did get there. Um but how much effort I had to put in for that, because like I improved like little bit by little bit every year. But senior year is really like what kicked it in for me, and I still had no idea like college was the thing that I wanted to do until probably about October of my senior year, because I had just PR'd by like a minute off of my original time, and I was like, okay, like I'm getting faster, like maybe like colleges will start to like to want me. And then I just kept on PRing and PRing as we got into like postseason for districts and regionals. So I started like filling out forms and stuff, and I wasn't thinking anything of it because I just really didn't know what to expect and I didn't want to expect anything. And I got a couple coaches to come out and email me, and I was like shocked. I was like, this is actually going to become a reality for me because I like would always look up to like those college athletes and like they put in so much work and like so admirable to like the high school runners that I now have the opportunity to be like that for other people. And I get to experience it myself is just something I never thought I would be able to do. And so just getting here and being able to do it has just been so fulfilling and happy for me because I couldn't imagine like being done in my senior year. I remember being so sad, like not knowing whether or not I was going to do cross country next year. And then finding out that like Coach Hudson at Cleveland State like wanted me was just like such an amazing experience to see that I actually got there.
You said something a couple times now that kind of gives me some insight into kind of you as a person, but just seems like you're doing it to pay it forward, even just going back to your high school team and supporting them again, whether you're there or not, and wanting to give back the now experience that you've earned in your athletic career and wanting to, you know, be the vision that somebody else can see and say, hey, even if I'm at the small town, like Sage did it, I'm going to do it. Is that something that you've always kind of had in you, of this just kind of selflessness a little bit, it sounds like?
I mean, yeah, I've always like cross country. It's a team sport, but it's also a singular sport because you're not like actively like passing the ball to your teammates or anything. Like have to be very mentally focused on yourself, but also like imagining if you do good, you're going to do good for your team. And I think that's always what kept me driven because uh I just wanted to do good for my team, even though it was like partly like a singular sport. And my best friend in high school, we were like neck and neck, like time wise. So like anytime, like I would just celebrate her victories when she would get a PR or like beat me. I would be so happy, or if anybody did, because yeah, I like to like be the best that I can be, but I want everybody to be, and I want the team to move forward and have the best like team energy as it can be. And I do just love seeing people thrive and get PRs because you can just see like how happy they are after the race. And that just really what is gets me going because not only PRs for me but for my team, it's just such a happy feeling.
What an incredible growth mindset you have of, what fulfills you is the best for the group. Is I think is a pretty rare thing to hear, especially, obviously if you're talking, hey, the team aspect of it, but it does very much come down to individual events and what you can do. And the fact that your mindset is thinking, hey, if I'm not the best today, I'm so happy for the person who just did their best today, is just like a crazy thing to hear. Let's talk a little bit about PRs and just not being super familiar with, I know what I can run a 5K in, and it ain't under 20 minutes. So what what does that kind of look like for you in terms of like the times you're running now, and obviously still a super super young athletic career? What are you looking forward to, and where are you kind of lining up time wise, and what's the goal here?
So in I know a lot of people always have like a bunch of goals that they want to hit every single time. But to me, like if I set myself like an end of season goal and I don't fully hit it, I'm going to be so disappointed in myself. So I guess I I kind of will put like, oh, by the time I graduate, I want to score points for my conference team or like something like that, to where if I don't get it this year, it's something I can continue to work on every single season that I have, to where if I don't get something like next meet, if I want a PR by like 10 seconds in the 5K and I don't get that, it's just going to be like so hurtful to in my mind. So I try not to do goals like that. But I definitely, I'm not the best at like the shorter distances, so like the 800 and the mile. I mostly do those for like a little bit of a break. I do enjoy them, but I like to focus on like the 3K and the 5K. Maybe the 10K outdoor season. That's kind of a lot of laps on a 400-meter track. So we'll see. I don't have any goals for that because I've never ran it before. So I don't want to put like a time on my back and then have it deflate my energy for outdoor. Um, but I really just like to want to see myself like visibly see my effort be put in through my PRs. As well as a lot of my teammates are all the same like time as me. So I like seeing all of us succeed as it goes because so many of my teammates, like, we're all like 1, 2, or 3 seconds away from each other. So I just want to see us all move up as a team and us all do better at like our conference meet and stuff like that or regionals for cross country. So I guess I'm more of like a performance based than necessarily a time based because I like having better I guess a mentality towards that instead of focusing on my times and getting down on those when I have a bad race.
Yeah. I think that's a good thing is to have an overarching kind of goal other than I got to beat it by 3 seconds. When you say shave 10 seconds off and everybody's that close, that even just seems like a massive goal to me of I got to improve by 10 seconds, but the whole team is within a few seconds of each other. It just seems like an astronomical jump. So I like the idea that you have of kind of an overarching idea of success for you guys. Talk to me about running indoors and outdoors, because if you got the indoor season, you guys, I think you're running indoor right now, but we're talking about maybe doing way too many laps on an outdoor track in a 10K. Do you like running inside? Do you like running outside? There's got to be a little bit of nuance to each of them.
Yes, I definitely indoor track is not my friend. Outdoor track and cross country is like cross country's peak because it's outside, it's a different course every time, so you have different things to look out like as you go into the forest. It's trees, but it's different trees. So it's just like a new view every single time. So cross country is definitely like my favorite because you just get a new experience every time. And even if you do go to the same meets as you did last year, I'm probably not going to remember fully how it looks. So it's still going to be like a good view and motivation for like the next turn as I'm racing. But then you get to indoor and it's 200 meters, sometimes 300. So, and it's inside. Like track hack is the worst. It's just not good. Like it's just you always want to cough after, and it's so hot in there. The good thing is that like the weather is all the same, so you don't have the chance of the wind or the rain. But then outdoor is by far better than indoor. I like racing in the both, but just like the feeling because it's a bigger track, so that means less laps. So like the a 5K on a 300-meter track is like 16 and a half laps. It's just going to be less than that and outdoor. So it's like looking forward. If I can do like 16 and a half, of course I can do less laps, but it's on a 400-meter track, but you can ignore that. But I'm looking forward to outdoor because in high school, I never really got like a full season because a bunch of my meets were canceled my senior year. So I'm looking forward to running like six or eight meets, I think, in outdoor to really see like what I'm capable of. Because I've never had the best relationship with track. But I'm looking forward to it to see all of my hard work that I've worked on like for the past year. I've been running since like consistently since June because like I took a break before that. So I can't wait to see like an outdoor because indoor is like the lead up to outdoor to where you'll peak in outdoors. So that's always the most exciting part of track season.
Okay, so we're in our like warm up phase here. We're getting to it. What
Yes.
does like a normal running day look like for you? Are you like running every single day, just putting miles or meters on of whatever fits your training schedule?
Yeah, so for me, I thrive with just like a medium amount of miles. Instead of like a bunch of miles, like 60, 70 miles, that's too much. Yeah, my training plan is 40 miles a week. I try to make it in 6 days. Sometimes, depending on when we race, I run 7 days a week. And then I've been cross training, so just like biking 3 days a week as well. But usually it's getting warmer now, thank goodness, because spring is supposed to come early. But in January, we were running in our the soccer dome for our workouts, which is because it's so cold. Like my hands get so cold outside. So it's been really nice, and it's more motivating in there too because like the controlled climate, it's always going to be like kind of hot, but no wind. So you really get like your most amount of effort in those reps indoor. So I like that. We usually do workouts about twice a week, just normal running, by mileage the other days. Uh, but I don't really focus on like a time to do for those like off workout days just because your body needs like rest days every once in a while. So like after a hard workout, if I'm sore, I'm not going out and running like 7:20 pace for my 6 miles. I just need a break. But we also like lift and stuff twice a week. Not too much. We're not trying to be like bodybuilders. Just enough to continue our stamina and make us stronger. So it's really nice. Our strength and conditioning coaches, it fits our schedule very well, and she's very like she just always helps us when we're at lift.
I'm sitting here thinking like, okay, so in January, like on my treadmill, I felt so good. I was like, I logged like just over 50 miles in a month. And you're like, I'm like doing like 40 to 50 a week. And maybe I'm not doing my 7-minute mile. Because I think that's the worst thing about, average dude running is it just takes so long. And especially, if you're in a garage or something and it's
Mhm.
boring, but you're like, oh yeah, I just whip through it, and 40
Well,
miles a week, and I'm also cross training, and I'm riding the bike a couple days a week. Like, how do you fit all that in? Is it
well, I want to say everybody's at different paces, so what you run versus what I run are completely different, and they're all very good. But I do recommend if you can get outside to get outside because the treadmill is definitely demotivating. I don't like the treadmill unless when it got to that like -10-degree weather, that's when I was like, okay, I'll go on the treadmill, but outside is definitely much better than the treadmill. Um, but fitting this in can be hard. We have 6 a.m. practices, which means we have to wake up at 5:30 a.m. every day, which that can get rough. Because I'm definitely a sleep-oriented person. So I tend to just like hop in bed at like 9 p.m. and just hope that I fall asleep right then because if I go to bed at 12, then my workout's like it's messed up. Like I'm exhausted. But like I'll still like put the effort in. But our coach is very generous, to where if we feel like we need to take a break, from that 6 a.m. practice and just do some mileage, later in the day, he is very open to that because he understands that we're college, we're student athletes. Like we focus on our major. So if that homework does take longer or it's really stressful, he's very open to us being able to get that extra sleep in. So that's very nice. And I work and I'm student and athlete, so but my schedule is set each week, so I'm able to work around my schedule, get those cross trains in like in between my shifts. I'm thankful that I only go to school. I have school 2 days a week. Um, so fitting in those lifts, those cross trainings are pretty nice for me because my academic advisor was able to help me maneuver to where I had a very nice class schedule. I know it's a little bit harder for some people, but our coach is just very like adaptable to our schedules. So that definitely is what helps the most with dealing with it.
Yeah, and you talk about your school schedule. That's like the number one thing on top of everything else you're doing. So, what is Sage studying? What are you, not that you need to know exactly what you want to be, like, absolutely not, but what are you interested in and what are you doing in school right now?
So I'm a journalism and promotional communications major. So I just do a bunch of writing. And I do have a goal of what I want, which is going back to, I said this a while ago, but I wrote myself a letter freshman year. And I said, like, do you still want to be a news anchor? And I do. So I guess freshman year Sage of high school knew what she wanted to do, which is like news anchoring. I just always liked like updating people, I guess, or like knowing, being in the know of things. And I like loved all the like the anchors that were like in the action of like, oh, they're like at the place and like updating on us on like what's actively happening. I always thought that was so cool. So that's what I'm in right now, where it's just a bunch of essays upon essays. So that's what I get stuck with, not necessarily like I'm currently not on like the this required science classes, which I will be next year. But um yes, I just a bunch of essays and I'm really liking it. I was a little nervous at first because I'm not the best grammatically, but we have good like access on campus for like writing centers. So I'm really liking like my goal, and I'm glad that I've like had it and stuck with it because I know a lot of people still don't know what they want to do. But I think I do, and I'm kind of proud of myself for that.
Yeah, that's cool. Especially going from, I thought originally, I'm like, well, you're a freshman. Of course, if you just wrote the letter to yourself, that's what you want to do. But going all the way back to high school, so we're going to have a field reporter out there on our hands covering some Ohio snowstorm or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, what kind of brought you to that of just like being wanting to be the updating kind of in the know out in the field, so not like you don't want to be the weather lady who's just stuck in the studio, like you got to be out and about.
Yeah, I definitely did not want to be that weather person because like half the time they're wrong, and then the entire population's like, darn those weathermen. So like I don't want to be one of those people. I don't really know what got me into it. I guess I just before school I would watch like Good Morning USA and see how like successful those news anchors were because like if I were to see those people, like those specific ones, I would know them just because Good Morning USA is such like it's the national news. And I thought that was so cool and like that's they put that effort in to be like the news reporters of like the United States. And I guess I was always just fascinated by that. I don't necessarily like watch the 6 o'clock news every single day. Um, but I do like catching up and just like watching the interactions that the anchors have with each other. I just thought it was like a nice like I don't know. I just always like was interesting to me.
It's a team. You're a team player and you're interested in the team aspect of broadcast journalism. That's super cool. It's not like you're not watching the news because you're like, oh, I'm dying to know what the news is. You like watching the actual anchors and people and the interactions, which is super unique and a good thing to drive you to be there one day. And I'm sure you will be. It seems like your personality is ready to go and there and super helpful to everybody around you. So I think you'd be an amazing addition to, you know, any news channel that you get the chance to be a part of. um, Before I let you go here, I know you don't have singular kind of record type goals, but as you head towards your outdoor season, getting through kind of the indoor stuff right now, do you have like your sophomore season kind of overarching goal that you'd like to to put for yourself?
I definitely want like cross country for us. I just want us to perform. We my freshman, so this past season, my team performed really well. Together we were within like, I believe, 15 seconds of each other. Like our 1 through 5 scoring girls were within 15 seconds of each other. And that was amazing for us. Like I was so happy for us. So I next year I want us to move up on our like results for our conference or regional meet, and like move up as a team, because like I said, like we're all like very close together to with each other, and I just really think that we're good at pushing each other, especially in cross country, when we can see how we're all doing. And for like next year for track and indoor, I guess I just want to continuously see myself improve, um with hopefully I can break 19 this my conference meet in 2 weeks. So I guess then my goal will be like low 18s next year, and just like continuously get like 30-20 seconds off, and see my work and my like determination for my career just continue going as the years go on, and just see myself like up there with like the big dogs of the running world.
That's awesome. Like I said, Sage, your mindset is amazing. I'm going to go on a run, and I'm just gonna know I'm gonna do my best. I'm gonna do my best because Sage told me that's all I have to do. I don't have to worry about beating her time because I just will not do that. I prefer a shorter distance for sure. Even when you're thinking 16 and a half laps was like you're manageable, like, oh, that's not that much. I almost died. I'm like, I just thinking that you have to run around for 1 mile, to do 400. I'm like, that's already pushing my limits. So when you said 4 times that, I'm like, good on you. I'm gonna stick to my own pace now though, and
Yes.
and make sure I keep that sage mindset going while I'm out running. But thanks so much for taking the time out of your day. I know you've already run already. You probably have to like do some school stuff. You probably have to lift. You have to go do some cross training and then get yourself in bed and wake up and do it all again. So we're going to let you go, but we really, really appreciate your time and good luck the rest of your indoor season. And I'll be checking the scores when you get to that conference outdoor stuff.
Thank you so much for having me. This was a great opportunity. Thank you.